Move on now. A flotilla carrying aid and pro-Palestinian activists is continuing its journey sailing towards Gaza today. The global summoned flotilla left Tunisia Monday after repeated delays, including 2 suspected drone strikes last week. Well, Tunisian authorities slammed the incidents as premeditated aggression and launched an investigation. It's not clear whether the fleet will succeed. Israel has already blocked 2 earlier attempts by activists trying to reach Gaza by sea in June and July. But one of the activists on the flotilla is Mandla Mandela. He is the grandson of Nelson Mandela, and he joins us now. Thank you so much for joining us on the program, Mandela. It's great to have you. I'm curious to find out where exactly you are right now.
Thank you for having us on the show. We have been sailing for the past 2 days now, and we have been able to reach Sicily, where we were able to refuel some of our boats on the seas. And we are now all heading to Gaza.
Well, you've reached Sicily after leaving Tunisia on Monday after those drone strikes. Tell us what it was like when those happened and what the mood is like with the rest of your colleagues there.
The 2 drone strikes on the family boat and on the Alma boat were in order to break the morale and instill fear within our participants. But this actually had an opposite effect because many of us have come around and we have been united in support of the Palestinian cause. And I think more and more boats turned up and joined the Freedom Flotilla. As you know, we had over 30,000 people that registered to sail on the Global Summit Flotilla. As a result, we now have about 18 boats coming out of Italy. We have 6 boats coming out of Greece, which will be joining the Global Summit Flotilla boats out of Barcelona and Tunis. We are well looking over 50 boats, and this has become the largest freedom flotilla that you would ever witness.
It's an extraordinary operation that's going on there. Israel has reacted to the flotilla. The National Security Minister, Itamar Ben-Gvir, has said that everyone on board the flotilla are terrorists. He said that they will be treated as such. How do you feel hearing the National Security Minister there characterizing you as a terrorist?
Well, we know from our earlier days in the struggle for liberation that one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. In this regard, my grandfather, President Nelson Mandela, was classed by the CIA as a terrorist. And yet, upon his release, he became not just the hero of our struggle for liberation, but a global icon. We set sail determined to fulfill our goal as the Global Summit Flotilla, to ensure that we break the blockade and end the siege that has been ongoing for the past 18 years. The people of Gaza, our brothers and sisters, are counting on us to bring the humanitarian aid that is so much needed. And therefore, we will not lose sight of the objective, and we will continue to ensure that we mobilize the entire global community to isolate apartheid Israel, just as they were able to rally behind the anti-apartheid struggle during our time in South Africa, isolating it and bringing it to its natural end. We therefore are counting on all citizens that are on land that have gone back to their respective countries to ensure that they continue to exert pressure on their governments, particularly members of parliament, to ensure that the Global Summit Flotilla fulfills its mission.
Well, your grandfather was very much a global icon for the struggle of apartheid, as you mentioned there. And in 1997, he famously said that we know too well that our freedom is incomplete without the freedom of the Palestinians. You've also echoed those words. You said that Palestinians are experiencing a far worse form of apartheid than we faced. Why is the Palestinian cause so important to you?
Well, our struggle, particularly as South Africa, has been intertwined with that of the Palestinian struggle. We drew immense inspiration from the Palestinians during our darkest days in the fight for our liberation. And many, like my grandfather, were inspired by the Palestinians, as he's always said to us that Palestinians, as well as Libyans and Cubans, not only supported us with words, but they placed resources for us to be able to effectively defeat the apartheid regime. And this is why it was important to him upon his release in 1995 and respectively 1997 on visiting Gaza to make a real commitment to the Palestinians when he said, our freedom is incomplete without the freedom of the Palestinian people. For us as this generation today in South Africa, we have picked up the baton where he left off, and we continue to ensure that we will utilize all means necessary to exert pressure on our government, on the SADC region, the African Union, and all other institutions to ensure that the Palestinian struggle is prioritized. And we want to ensure that we liberate Palestine within our lifetime. And therefore, it is important that just as we were able to rally the international community through the global Flotilla, we want to ensure that we mobilize the international solidarity movement in support of the Palestinian struggle. We have seen that by utilizing the electronic intifada, social media, we have been able to turn the tide and the propaganda that has been perpetuated by apartheid Israel and its partners in the West. In this regard, we are witnessing major protests in every town and in every city across the globe.
Well, Mandla, two earlier attempts to reach Gaza by sea by activists in June and July failed. Just briefly, tell us whether you believe that you will arrive in Gaza with that desperately needed aid.
We continue, as I said, to be inspired by the Palestinians. Over the past 77 years, they've continued to remain steadfast and resilient. And in this regard, we will continue mobilizing the international community to exert pressure on the apartheid state of Israel. And therefore, it is easy to deal with one ship or sometimes two ships. But as I've said, this is the largest flotilla ever witnessed before, with over 50 ships that are sailing to Gaza. And we will be looking forward to reaching our brothers and sisters in Gaza, whether we are intercepted or we have been blocked from getting to Gaza. We are still determined to reach the shores of Gaza, because this humanitarian aid is so much needed. And I think with the UN declaring this as a genocide, we will now be mobilizing the countries to ensure that they do all that is necessary to protect this global flotilla to fulfill its mission.
Mandla, thank you so much for joining us on the programme. Really great to talk to you about your experience so far, and good luck and do stay safe. Thank you so much for joining us.